The April 11th meeting of the Conservation Commission, we stand and salute the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Oh, look who's here. Good evening, Leon. Yeah, we just started. We just did the pledge of allegiance. We'll give you a minute to get going. Mr. Hall, how are you?
My reserve spot was taken, so I had to park my truck somewhere else.
I'm facing the right direction today. Now I've got to get gas first. So we're good.
That's Casey's slide that over.
Oh.
No.
You know, we get some time.
Yeah, a little jealous.
Angry.
Yeah.
How's the car, Leon? Good.
Liam, do you have an extra pen by any chance?
No.
It's alright. I'll borrow Paul's.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah.
No, he's not sharing mine.
Yeah.
We just wait for Leon.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you're mad at me.
No.
You already voted, right?
What's that?
You already vote today? You all set?
Yes, I did vote.
Just one time?
Well, I'm not disclosing my voting patterns.
Vote early, vote often?
I tried to vote early and I didn't realize the polls didn't open until 10.
Yeah. Well, it's a town election, that's why.
So,
It's a election on a budget, though.
Had to get Elizabeth, had to get Matt all over to school. They're doing a weight training session. Had to get it for 6:30.
How'd that work out?
Rolled out at 5. It was great. Rolled out at 5. Fed the dogs. Got the 2 dogs out. Go to pour myself a cup of coffee to go. Boat took off. Right. I had to go from Providence to Point Judith to East Greenwich.
Good.
I got home late. Finally got back to the house like 1:15. So from like 5:40 to 1:15. Just
What'd you do weekend?
it's their off-season field hockey program.
You have Chris try to log in? Are they using the touch?
Lenny, you see Lenny in the audience?
No, let me know.
No?
He just shows up where he wants.
Well, you can just open that here and we can continue.
Which one is this?
The meeting. The Westport Village Commons. What's I'm not doing for you? Okay. I couldn't even turn it on. I don't know how to turn it on.
Chris, just be sure to delete your browser history. Yeah.
That's her magic.
Are we good? All right. Okay, so we have, first hearing is septic repair for Westport Village Commons, J. Pasquarillo, 770 Main Road. And that's Lenny Potter. Lenny Potter, you here? No? All right, we're gonna continue that until a little later in the meeting. Next, we have Brian Mulaney, notice of intent, 512 River Road, grading for house and patio in the riverfront area. Good evening, Sean.
Sean Leach, Northeast Engineers, representing Brian Mulaney, 512 River Road. This is a house that's under construction. It's 3/4 way finished. It's situated down on the bank of the Westport River. It was sited out of the 200-foot buffer zone. And we're planning a septic repair also as driveway and everything. What they didn't anticipate when they put the pool on here was they were going to have to grade down the slope, and that grading is within the 200-foot riverfront area, it's approximately 5,300 square feet of grading on into the river, the 200-foot riverfront, nothing into the 100-foot riverfront. This is already an existing disturbed or degraded, as they would call, pasture lawn area. The plan is to just grade it and overseed it and turn it back into pasture lawn area, just with a steeper grade. The alternative of putting a retaining wall along here, I don't think is a good alternative, only because it's just putting a hardscape has no real function as to, you know, the riverfront area. I think this is a better solution than trying to put a retaining wall along 200-foot front, only because it would be 10 to 15 feet high, and it would be a hardscape, and that would just more disturbance just outside it. So just turning this into a steeper slope in the pasture area, we think is a solution here, and that's what the plan is.
Mr. Chairman, Brian Mulaney, 512 River Road, notice of intent application, Northeast Engineers and Consultants, Sean Leach is here, representing. Report date is April 4th, 2023. There is a file number SE 802679. Site visit was also on April 4th, 2023. The owner has filed the proposed grading into the riverfront area that is located on the site. Property borders on the west branch of the river, and the applicant is constructing a new single-family home outside of the riverfront. The request to allow the owner to grade into the outer portion of the 200-foot riverfront area under 310 CMR 10.58 applies for this newly subdivided lot of the family estate. The activity is proposing is 5,245 square feet of disturbance within a 63,000 square foot riverfront area. 310 CMR 10.58 states the commission may allow 5,000 square feet of disturbance or 10% of the riverfront area within a lot recorded after 1997. However, the lot must have no practical and substantially equivalent economic alternatives to the proposed project with less adverse effects. The purpose of evaluating the project alternatives is to locate activities so that impacts to the riverfront are avoided to the extent practical. The alternative analysis provided does not consider the home could have been constructed further away from the riverfront, negating the need to work within this area. The alternative analysis provided includes an alternative A, which is the grade into the riverfront area as you have presented before you, or alternative B is to construct a retaining wall. The arguments presented to select alternative A in the provided alternative analysis does not meet the definition of practical. The owner chose to place the home in a location that could have been placed in an area available and was capable of being done. The retaining wall is, in my opinion, is the alternative choice that will not cause impacts to the riverfront. As explained above, the chosen location created its own hardship, not the topography or the size of the lot. The retaining wall should be constructed outside the riverfront area and no activity proposed within the riverfront area. Note, the walls over 6 foot need building department approval. If the owner wishes to see the existing mowed lawn, well, what they're requesting in their disturbance is to enhance the lawn area that is currently existing, sloping down to the river, with a wildflower meadow. This can be done, in my opinion, under certain exempt activities
already allowed to the owner under 10.02 of the Wetlands Protection Act, as long as the work is greater than 50 feet from mean high water and mowing of lawns is not subject to the regulations in 310 CMR 10.00. Recommendations, the Westport Conservation should make a motion not to allow work along the riverfront area for 512 River Road, as there exists a practical alternative by constructing a retaining wall outside of the riverfront jurisdiction. The applicant may seek the existing lawn on the Wildflower Meadow under the minor exempt activities. This was pending a file number, but we do have a file number, it's SE 802-679. So just in my analysis of this project, Mr. Chairman, the homeowner has, again, initiated the project outside the riverfront area, and these things have been added on to create a hardship for his own self. The circumference and size of the lot, the homeowner could have slid this structure another 50 feet, 25 feet further, and would not have had any activity in the riverfront area. So, in my opinion, I think claiming there is no alternative is not accurate. So therefore, I think if the retaining wall is not something they'd like to consider, then I would say that they should be initiating activities that do not require work in the riverfront area, and however they may be able to do that with this design, may not be possible. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Sean?
Well, I don't disagree with Mr. Combs' assessment. I mean, the house is built, and the lot line being up in here could be split. However, at this point, it's water under the bridge. It's kind of past that, and the way this was terraced off and everything, I don't think they accounted for this grading. The grading, I feel, is a better solution than like I said, this is over here on this side would be 13 feet high, over here would be about 6 feet high. Than a solid concrete wall that you see from the river and everything. I think providing just a slope, a wildflower meadow is a better solution for this than putting a hardscape, which just increases disturbance in here and just a lot of stormwater as far as just making a cliff or a waterfall come down off the thing onto the existing grade. I think this solution with the stormwater mitigation that's being proposed for the new septic is a better solution, better looking, more appealing, and does not degrade the function of this riverfront area, which is already a grass meadow lawn. It's just replacing it with just a slightly steeper slope. In my opinion, putting 200 feet of 10-foot average retaining wall across here is kind of, I think counterproductive to what the intent of the act is.
So Chris, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, I mean, like I said, just leaving this to slope and replanting it as meadow with wildflowers, to me, is a better solution than like I said, 10-foot high retaining wall.
Chris, in your recommendation, after you say, the work should be done outside the riverfront jurisdiction, the applicant may see existing along the wildflower meadow. Was that is that if they graded, or is that in addition to using the wall, like putting the wall in?
Well, they're using the wildflower as an incentive, as mitigation in a sense for enhancement of the project. And what I was referring to is they can plant that tomorrow with seed mix and not need our permission because they're well beyond the limits of a normal activity under a minor exemption. So then we're not gaining anything out of that planting of a wildflower next year. Again, that's more aesthetically for the homeowner, it does not improve the wildlife value per se. This is a maintained area, so I'm sure there may come limitations to how often the wildflowers are mowed, or if they're mowed at all, I don't know. So I just feel that this project has progressed in the wrong manner. Just now, they're coming forward with a septic location, which this project has just progressed to the point where now we got nowhere else to go, so we have to go on the riverfront, and I just feel that
And I know you said.
I kind of feel that we're, and the pool isn't in, to my knowledge now, so the pool is an amenity that could be added. They could put it off to the side of the house. So a lot of this, as I mentioned, it progressed because I think the homeowner kept moving forward, and now he realizes he can't grade correctly without this gigantic slope.
So is there anything I mean, it's grass now or some kind of wild.
It is a lawn area, absolutely. So is he changing what's there? No.
Just changing the grade, right.
It's
I
changing the
understand.
grade.
So is there anything that they could add for mitigation, whether it be some kind of rain gardens that we would, in your opinion, make up for?
If they would like to
Sure.
come with a proposal for something else, Mr. Chairman, and it's the board's decision, I am only providing you the language in the regulations that,
No, I understand.
you know, and again, it's just,
But as mitigation, we've had people do plantings, we've had them do rain gardens,
there would be rain
So-
gardens. I don't think in this case that significant amount of rain is gonna come off what they're proposing.
right.
I don't know where the patio and such is being drained to. I would hope that they're infiltrating some of that rainwater in their design. I think he's had an architect through the whole process, so I think that everything you see here flows with the intentions of the property in the long run. So if the commission feels that they don't have a problem with the way it's designed,
Well,
I truly understand and it's accepting of the decision you make.
well, I think if it were, for me anyway, I mean, I think if it were not already lawn, I would say no, don't do it, but there should be some mitigation made, and I think.
Is there ways you can lessen it? Can you terrace it? Is there,
Right.
I mean, aesthetically, Sean, you understand the riverfront isn't anything about, in that respect, what the wall may look like from the river. I mean, I'm just trying to, again, make sure that the method to the way this came to be is done through the proper channels of the regs.
I mean, I'm gonna let
If the
it,
commission feels, like you said, there is allowance to do 5,000 square feet of disturbance, yes. But again, there's may allow, it doesn't say shall.
no, I get that. But I'm gonna let everybody else speak, but I'm just saying that if they decide that maybe there's some mitigation they can do, possible, Sean may wanna put something together and come back at the next meeting or something like that. But I'll let everybody else speak, and if you'd like, and then we can go from there.
I just had a question, because I might have missed this, but what is the homeowner's purpose or the interest in regrading? Because from the photograph, it doesn't look like, there's some sort of, there's not a cliff that's dropping off there, at least you can't see
No,
it from
there's a
there.
fairly steep slope naturally here.
Yeah,
And of
So-
course, the house has to be level. So when you're building this up a little bit, and so it's creating it steeper on the back side of the house. That's what's happening.
okay.
You know what I mean? You're terracing this off, and then it's,
What's the
But
grade,
you know,
where the pool and then as you go
what's-
further down? What are the grades look like?
Sean, what he's referring to is this picture, you can see the outline of the patio.
Yeah.
So the patio is in formed concrete, or it's a wall, so that patio.
that's this, yeah, that's this,
yeah, I mean,
So that is raised up in such that is
right. Maybe
elevated
I'm
per se.
misunderstanding the question.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is, is there a defect in the natural slope that he's trying to, correct? I mean, that is, he's not gonna construct anything there, it's not I'm asking, is he saying without it being regraded, he won't have access to that part of his property, or is it just his aesthetic, he just wants it to make it look differently as he's sitting on his patio?
Okay, so
Yeah,
the grade here,
it's like 43 to 28 feet is what happens,
yeah,
if you look at the natural grade.
yeah.
Yeah.
The grade goes so fast.
Yeah.
It drops off pretty quickly
Okay.
naturally, and basically just flattening or leveling off the area of the house to have a level house here. And patio causes to extend, I think it's elevation 60, push it out probably another 30, 40 feet, which steepens this section of grade. And if you wanna have a natural slope, you don't wanna have it too steep, you're just gonna have constant erosion and
Well,
runoff.
they wanna be able to obviously walk.
Yeah.
That's what it just
So if
wasn't
you did not
clear to
have
me, I
this
didn't
way
quite
of
understand
doing
that.
It would be more abrupt and would not be physically accessible from the rear of the home. Walking right out of the terrace
I
area.
mean, you
Okay.
have tree cover here, tree cover here,
Yeah,
essentially.
and so just looking at the alternative, if he built the, the stone wall, then you'd if he wanted to get access down to the river, there would be stairs that would go down?
Or he would need maybe a component within it, yes.
Yeah.
You would have to have a set of steps that would drop basically from elevation 50 down to elevation 38. So
Okay, just trying to understand.
Which drops right into the channel, basically, right? At the
What's that?
waterfront there, it's the channel.
Well, no, the
is-
water, there's a good distance to the actual waterfront.
It's about 150 feet.
This,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this, I think it's, 55, so it's 145 feet to the water at the
Yep.
closest breeding point.
So if there was a retaining wall built, it still wouldn't alter the grade on the riverside of the retaining wall.
You wouldn't need.
You would level it off to a point to the retaining wall, but it would still be,
It would be a cliff,
Yeah.
yeah, a retaining wall, if you put a retaining wall along the 200-foot line, it would basically, up here you'd have 13-foot drop, down here it's 5 or 6 foot.
I mean, I have sympathy for what Chris is pointing out in the idea, this idea of kind of, you shouldn't bifurcate projects,
Not a guidance.
right? And you shouldn't, and I think he's right that if he had come in with this grading proposal from the beginning, then it's likely
Push the house
we would have recommended to,
House.
alter the, change the plan, from the get-go. And I don't really want, to encourage not that kind of forward thinking. I don't know, on the other hand, it's
Well-
not doing that much damage to the riverfront area in terms
No,
of.
my only thought was is already grassed, but, you guys can decide what you wanna do. And you can ask, have Sean come back and ask for something in return for allowing it.
is a set of stairs built into the already altered area an option along with just some natural vegetation versus wildflowers? Just, make it,
I mean, if you want a different type of vegetation, is that what you're looking for?
well, provide access, safe access, so you're not climbing down a cliff,
Mostly, the access won't be coming down on this slope, the existing access, there's a dock here, and there's an existing path coming down through the woods here, and the plan is not to do anything in here, that's why the wildflower pasture mix will probably remain that way.
So are they expressing the plant wildflower mix the whole length of the field?
Yeah, they basically turn this into pasture as the landscape architect Sean Popovich, is planning that kind of planting plan. So I don't know if that's, 'cause right now it's just more weeds and grass than anything else right now.
Well, again, ostensibly, that is a good considerable replacement, for a degraded lawn area. The wildflower will provide, foraging for insects, but again, my purpose is Phil stated, is the fact that the project just keeps progressing in a manner that, sorry, I have no choice. So, in this case, I could agree with a member in a motion that allowed the area to within 50 feet of mean high water to be, revegetated, with erosion controls installed, obviously, to minimize any further, erosion in that manner, and allow the placement of wildflowers for what, has been.
Yeah, the plan was to go to the top of the coastal bank, which is, you can see this line here.
That is fine, that's more than 50 feet, I would assume, right?
Yeah, but it really gets steep after that,
Yes.
it really drops off.
Okay.
it's different than a 5-car garage being applied for after the fact. It's a lot different than
No,
that.
I
It's
agree.
unreasonable, it's
And
a
the
reasonable,
project is entirely out of the room.
yeah,
This is just for the purpose of softening the landscape,
yeah.
I guess if you could say it in that way.
I know the regs are pretty clear about staying out of the riverfront if you have a practicable and economically equivalent alternative. You only can do this 5,000 square feet in the riverfront if there's no alternative. That's clear in the regs, I think, and I think it applies here.
Well, just to throw in something else, I'm assuming that the wildflower area would just be a natural area, it wouldn't be fertilized at all.
Correct.
And so there is some benefit to that if that was restored as a lawn area and fertilized, that removing that area in proximity to the river would serve water quality purposes in the river.
Does that show it on the plan now that that's gonna be left as all natural wildflower area?
I think it was submitted from the landscape architect as part of the NOI.
Yeah, there was a written explanation, correct, Sean? There was a written narrative, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want them to, update the plan and come back in 2
No,
weeks?
I would go for a motion, Mr. Chairman. I think you guys have ironed out my concerns, and I do agree with the way you guys saw the project.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with the wildflower.
I think it's probably better to have the wildflower, and, you know, again, they're not, if they were cutting down trees, but I understand what Phil's saying as well about not encouraging people to,
I don't think it
Do
would be
things
warm
after
and
the fact.
fuzzy if he wants to do more work in the riverfront, but
Yeah.
that's something that we could always allow an applicant to file for.
all right. Do you wanna speak up, sir? If you wanna come right up to the podium and state your name, please.
Jim Hubner, 498 River Road. I got the notice, I had actually no idea what this was about, other than it was something for the Conservation Commission. So I decided to come. The only thing I was gonna mention, this has been going on since October of '21, and here we are in April of '23. So it'd be nice to get this done. There's an awful lot of activity that goes on day after day. But it also appears this has no bearing on our own property. I had no idea until I got here what this was specifically about. The property is not down near the water, we don't have waterfront access. But the solutions of keeping it in something that's aesthetic and wildflowers and so forth sounds like at least a reasonable thing. But I understand some of the consternation, I guess, about the process that's been employed to this point. That's it.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else have any comments or questions? All right, does anybody have a motion?
So, I'll make a motion to, well, we're,
You want me to motion to allow the grading?
allow the grading within the, whatever parameters, I guess Chris would set, you know, where exactly the line is gonna be.
Well, say per this plan, the grading
Okay.
accepted per this plan, with the knowing that the area will be replanted with a wildflower mixture,
Not to be disturbed.
not to be disturbed within the extent of the, lawn area existing on the property, or the lower lawn area.
All right, so I'll make a motion to allow the grading and the seeding, like you said.
All right,
Wildflower.
With wildflower mix, yeah,
to not to be disturbed.
and not to be disturbed, yeah.
Phil, do you have anything you want to add to that? Or you-
No, I guess I would push the point of, also as part of mitigation, not
Not
allow
fertilizer.
organic not allow
Yeah.
fertilizing of that area or, the surrounding, that portion of the surrounding lawn area,
All right, in the riverfront, basically.
in the riverfront area.
All right,
Yeah.
so no fertilizer, no disturbance, planted with wildflower seed mix, as shown on the plan. All right,
So I'll second that.
okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Was that opposed?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so it's, everybody voted, 4, except 1.
4-1 vote. We don't usually have a completely separate motion, it's usually a modification
Yeah.
of the motion.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
So everything's good.
What is your victory party tonight?
Let's get back on track.
Is Lenny here? Lenny Potter?
Down the herring ditch, we're all gonna go down there.
You run unopposed, I guess you.
All right, so the next hearing is Warren Messier, notice of intent, 44 Heritage Drive, construct single-family dwelling, septic system, well, and related work in the buffer zone.
We'll pass that back up.
Sign this one.
Yeah. You sign it. Borrow your pen.
Thank you.
Was Sean the original engineer on that project? That's how it happens. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Sign it, the whole commission signs it. Yes or no? I think so.
Go ahead, Jim.
Jim?
Jim Walsh, going in for Alice Vanderbilt Road.
Yeah.
The applicant proposes a single-family dwelling, 44 Heritage Drive. The wetland line up here is separated from the area of the proposed work by the Algonquin gas line. The septic and reserve area are out of the 100-foot buffer zone, but the house, the well, and all the sorted grading and whatnot for the house lot, majority will be within the 100-foot buffer zone. Here's Heritage Drive, Route 88's right over here. So,
All right, I'll let Chris read the
the
report. then.
erosion controls will be installed and such.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry, Chris.
Members, this is Warren Messier, 44 Heritage Drive, notice of intent application filed by Gordetsky Engineering. Jim Walsh is here representing. Report date is April 3rd, 2023. There is a file number, it's SC 802680 with no adverse comments. The site visit was on April 3rd, 2023. Description of the work, the owner is proposing a new single-family home on the vacant lot. The wetland edge has been field surveyed and is accurate as shown. That would be wetland flags 101 through 107. The proposed work is to construct a single-family home, well, and grading in the buffer zone. The single-family home will be built 64 feet from the edge of the wetland, and the well will be 55 feet at the closest point. Erosion controls will be staked in place and will be the limit of all work that is approved. This lot is from the original subdivision development of Heritage Acres. This is the last, I believe, the last lot in that Heritage Acres development. The sewage disposal system will have a denitration component. It has, I believe, seen the Board of Health's approvals. So I recommend tonight for the Conservation, the Westport Conservation Commission should approve the proposed project, the single-family home, well grading on 44 Heritage Drive with standard conditions. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Questions? Questions from the table? Any questions from the audience? All right, if there's no questions, we'll look for a motion then.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
All those in favor? Opposed? All
Aye.
right, that's unanimous now. Getting out unscathed, Joe. Getting out unscathed.
Yeah.
I'm holding this back up.
Deer on the side of the road.
Okay, next we have Ward Mooney, notice of intent for 1702F Drift Road, perform aquatic management for removal of invasive species in the buffer zone. That's being continued till 5/23. Need a motion to continue to 5/23.
Motion to continue.
Okay.
Second.
It says,
March 23rd.
yeah, no,
I mean, May 23rd.
yeah, May 23rd.
Sorry, M.
Okay, that was Kevin and Jason, and all those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous, so. Next one is Edward and Patricia Kent, notice of intent, 1478B Drift Road. Construct a fixed pier, float, and gangway and maintain seawall in the riverfront area. What's that all about, Chris? I don't see anybody here.
Yeah, it's that crazy guy that probably just walked out the door. Topsy-turvy, you don't know, Sean?
Oh, it's just Mr. Leach, okay.
Is it a continuance? Oh, no, no, that's good. Jeez.
No,
We continued it for 2 months, Sean.
you only sign if you.
Supposed to pay attention.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
okay. So, Bert was opposed, so he would not sign it.
Correct.
He doesn't have to, I mean, you can sign if you're opposed, can't you?
You shouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But, see, he may have signed it, so worst
That's fine,
case,
doesn't make a
just
difference.
line it out and have an initial or
Doesn't
something.
make a difference. If it passes, it doesn't matter if you want it.
Yeah.
My
I'm
name's,
sorry, I'll take one.
Okay, sorry.
Doing an extra step over here now.
Get in there.
Thanks, Bill. We don't have enough
You're
time.
gonna be waiting for your victory party now, you have another presentation.
Good job.
Are we all set?
I'm all set, go ahead.
I've already signed it, no matter if
Good
you
evening.
vote yes or no.
Once again, Sean Leach, Northeast Engineers Consultant for Edward and Patricia Kent, for 1478E Drift Road. This is a small cottage on the river. They like two things. One, we're filing for two things tonight. One is they have a gravel parking area which sits on a cinder block type foundation. I think there might have been a garage here at some point. And underneath that cinder block foundation is a storage shed. I don't know what you would call it.
Is that the blue thing in the picture?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
What they'd like to do is take that out of there and just make it a natural slope and kind of fix the parking area, because the cinder blocks are kind of bowing out, and it's probably due for it, but it's within the 200 front riverfront area, and it's actually within the 100 foot riverfront area. The second thing is they like to put a dock coming off the existing concrete pad that's raised up, and the dock would be about 60 feet long, 65 feet long, to get to a point where there's adequate water depth for a float. What we are proposing float stops in case of very low tides and high tides. The dock itself meets all the requirements of both Chapter 91 and the Westport Conservation Commission dock policies. It's a typical wooden dock with dual piles. It's got 8 by 20 float at the end going out toward the Westport River. It meets the clearance. And essentially, you know, it meets the amount off the river. This riverfront area is basically a concrete cap, stone wall, and there is, like I said, a concrete pad that we're putting this on. So, and there's a more concrete pad over here. They're not proposing to do anything with the house or anything with the lawn over here. It's a very tight location. There isn't much room anywhere. You may know this as Miracle Lane. You know, the Cohen property, some of you are probably familiar with, been on here for years and years and years on this side, that's who this is. But they're not proposing any housing, they just wanna fix this area here, which is in the riverfront, and they wanna build and construct a dock for themselves.
Can you just explain, Sean, briefly, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the retaining structure that they wanna keep at the parking area, they're gonna rebuild that?
Yeah, they're gonna rebuild that, they're gonna
And keep
basically.
it raised like it is, but just move the shed?
Right, because they need a parking area, the parking here is this is very steep, and there's no parking on this lot
So
except
the
for this
parking
little
across
curve.
the street they did as well? though?
Yeah, you can.
But
yeah,
that
it's-
was temporarily,
Yeah.
till they knocked this, right?
Yeah, exactly, because this has to be removed. I mean, the structure itself, I told them there should be parking on it, because the cinder blocks, like I said, are starting to blow out, and it's gonna fail eventually.
All right, so
I
they,
don't know if this was a garage or something.
so rebuild as is in the same footprint?
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of what I thought.
Is that parking area, the temporary one they're on now, is that one that Lenny came in with
No,
years ago, no?
no, this is
No.
old, this is like Sean's saying, this is like a retained old concrete with that shed that's like, must have been an old pump house, so I don't know if
I don't know if it was a
well
garage
inside.
or a shed on top of it or something, I'm not sure what was going on there, but it needs to be removed, and that's the whole point, is they're gonna remove that, and just build basically a raised earthen.
What do you need?
of
I may,
preparedness.
Edward and Patricia Kent, 1478 B Drift Road. This is a notice of intent application. Northeast Engineers and Consultants is here with Sean Leach representing. Report date is April 6, 2023. There is a file number. It was issued SE 802681. There are comments from DEP on this, and it's more concerning because I don't agree with them, absolutely. They claim that the plan was of small scale and they couldn't determine the extent of the activity.
I mean, typically.
And I'm just gonna,
Yeah,
if I may, Sean,
yeah, go ahead.
whoever sent something to them, you may not have sent the full-size plan and
No,
maybe.
the full size plan got sent. I checked on that, cause that's my
Sure.
comments, yeah.
So I thought you just sent them the waterways plan and that was that, and
Well-
that maybe
I think the problem is when you submit everything electronically now, into the portal,
they don't open everything, they don't scan all the way down.
or they open up and they print on an 8.5 by 11. I mean, we're doing these plans so it enlarges the.
Alright, so that's all let me finish on, you can add to that. The description of the work, Mr. Chairman, is the owner has filed to construct a fixed pier gangway, seawall and float. He's not constructing the seawall, he's maintaining the seawall and float on the east branch of the river. The plan has been provided to show the proposed pier location. Mass DEP has comments on where the salt marsh is located, as it is not identified on the plans. Sean and I discussed this, there is no salt marsh in front of the place here.
No.
But I think on maybe their notice of intent, they might have marked that spot, and maybe that's why he's referring it. But all the resource areas should be shown, in my opinion, I think they are. The mapping for the area also identifies eelgrass beds present. The engineer needs to provide an eelgrass survey to determine if it will be affected. The applicant is also removing an underground shed structure that is sunk into the slope. This allows parking above with storage area below. The structure will be filled to grade and allow continued parking to the home. As Sean mentioned, it will be replaced in kind in the same location, except that shed that you see in the picture will be removed. The comments from the Division of Marine Fisheries are lacking, as well as the Marine Services Director. I would suggest a continuance and have the engineer show all resource areas. We just discussed that. But in the meantime, the continuance should allow time for the DMF comments and the eelgrass survey to be conducted. So I suggest to the Commission, Westport Conservation Commission, should request continuance to April 25th, I'm sorry, to provide salt marsh location and eelgrass survey, and waiting for DMF comments. Can you make sure you sent it to the DMF, Sean?
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's not, I mean,
I'm not criticizing Sean, I understand she went on maternity leave.
No, we didn't see any eelgrass, of course, we were out there in February, so you're not gonna see it. But there's a suspicious looking, from the previous owner, the Kents bought this, and I think in December, of crop dredging in here, so I don't think there's any, eelgrass in there. But it'll take another month before we even know that. So, I mean, it might be earlier now that it's warming up quicker.
All right, so we'll go look for a continuance to 4/25. Is that what you said, Chris, or do you want to?
Yes, sir, 425. Do you need more than that, Sean, or you think you get out there with waders and a mask?
Well, it depends on the weather.
All right, let's
I
go
mean,
to-
it's been a warm winter.
Let's go
so I
to the
would
first
expect
meeting in
probably-
May, Mr. Chairman. Let's go to the, not the, Leon, what was it?
5/11?
511. Okay?
That's true.
There we go, Sean.
Just, Sean, before we vote, how far apart are those two docks?
These two docks?
Yeah, just roughly, like 75, 100 feet,
I'd
No.
say more than that.
Yeah, well, these two docks are about 50 feet apart.
and how about is there a dock further to the, south?
Yeah, it's way further.
Way down?
south. Yeah, it's way further south.
I mean, just
Gifford's on the
kind
other
of thinking
side.
back about the James Winters dock location thing, would it make sense to shift that, clockwise a little
We
bit?
kind of centered it as best we could, in between, the riparian lines are always subjective anyway, but we centered it basically in the center of the existing concrete pad that's there, and it made it convenient to the center of the lot and coming off the deck, so, I mean, I don't think, this has an interim license, which actually needs to be updated. This one has a full license. I don't know, you can shift it 5 or 6 feet.
No, I'm saying if you can't, you can't. I'm just thinking if you could shift it and it would make it easier to get boats in and out of there for both neighbors,
There's, I would say there's plenty of room.
There's enough room, yeah.
out there.
Okay.
You This dock is in very low water, so you're not getting a big boat in there
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
shape, or form. So, but I think we have enough room. I mean, you're talking, like I say, you're talking 40, 50 feet. You can slide it in there pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Thank you.
All right, so continuance to,
5/11.
May 11th. We have a motion?
Is there any way, we can allow the, this activity? They kinda like to get going, like destroying it and,
Chris? We really can't continue it with by, this,
I mean, I'm just trying to help them out because they're trying to get going. I mean, this thing,
you have to actually close that out and file a new one, right, Chris? I mean, you can,
I mean, I can't, this is the bad part about putting docks with work,
Yeah.
so I'd say, no, you can't, Sean.
okay.
You piecemeal them, you put them together, then they're subject to an appeal, or, you know, someone could be egregious by the docker not to work on the property and
Well,
get
can we-
stuck with it, so.
Can we make a motion to approve the structure and deny the dock, and then he comes in on the 25th with a new hearing for the dock, and we approve it
we'll
then?
never get
No,
it
'cause
in.
he's gonna pay
Okay.
fees all over
Yeah, all
there.
over again, okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, he's-
okay.
No, very.
We just thought it was easier than coming in too piecemeal. like,
Expressed to him that I don't have him putting out the bid for a contractor.
No.
He has a contractor that wants to do it tomorrow.
Well, they just wanna do something here for parking, cause they know weather's gonna go up, you know, May 11, I guess it will be on.
All right, we'll shoot for May 11th. You did do well for your client, we're not gonna dispute that, and we'll take that into the record.
All right, so do we have a motion?
But you know
Move to
that's
continue to
combined in
4/25.
May 11th.
No, they
Oh,
allow it, sorry.
5/11.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Someone? Second from Jason. All in favor, opposed?
Aye.
That's unanimous, now. May 11th. Is Lenny not showing up for this,
Yeah,
subject?
I think you're gonna continue him too, Mr. Chairman.
Continue to what?
I don't have a problem with the other guy, but I just.
11, wait a minute.
It was 5/11 the right date?
It's 5/11, yeah.
Really? Today
Yeah.
is 4/11. The 11th has to be a different day of the week, and
Bert might be, let's,
Hold on, let's check the calendar. Hold on, sure, we may have to change it, check the
We
calendar.
continued another one to 4/25, didn't we?
Yeah, so it'd be
it
the,
should be May
9th.
9th,
Oh,
Okay, so we need
May
to,
9th,
we need to change that to May 9th.
May 9th.
sure.
Thank you, Bert. Pretty good running them numbers in your head, I know, I saw you over there, you know,
He was on
running
dr-
them numbers.
He's on DraftKings all the
Sports
time.
betting.
All right, next we have Long Built Homes, 127 Gifford Road, stormwater infiltration basin in the buffer zone. Yes, sir?
Good evening, Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers. I'm here on behalf of Longwood Homes for Lot 7, which is also 127 Gifford Road. We have filed an RDA, will work greater than 50 feet and less than 100 feet to the buffer zone. Majority of that work is the grading and drainage basin as required by the stormwater bylaw in Westport. The basin is for 2 residential dwellings, one on lot 6, one on lot 7, to meet that bylaw requirement. And we, be happy to answer any questions.
So that's to widen the size, because you're utilizing the other lot to convey water in this direction?
That's correct.
Okay, that makes a little more sense to me, thank you. Mr. Chairman, Long Built Homes, Jamie Bissonette is here with Zenith Consulting. This is 127 Gifford Road, this is a request for determination of applicability, again for Long Built Homes. The applicant has filed as they have purchased the 2 A&R lots on Gifford Road, this is considered lot 7, and is required to obtain approvals to install an over-designed stormwater basin. I think it's quite large for what's needed here, but not sure why such a large system for a single-family home, but this is what is presented with the Board of Health's 100-year storm requirements. The wetland line is accepted on this application only to the flags shown on the plan, that would be B1 through B6. The stormwater basin will be designed 50 feet from the edge of the wetland. Delineation, which we allow a request of determination under those circumstances. The basin is designed to meet the Board of Health requirements, and as its size comes into play is with that 100-year storm calculation. Roof runoff into a dry well system could cause less disturbance, but again, the regulation is being implemented and being enforced, so I guess the applicant is stuck with the way the process moves. The erosion controls, again, on this project will be the limit of the work. The basin shall be maintained as required. Did they require you to have an operation and maintenance plan submitted with the basin? Okay. So that would be something that we should consider. So recommendations, Westport Conservation Commission shall consider approving this project on a negative box 3 determination with the operation and maintenance plan maintaining the stormwater basin be implemented.
All right, thank you. Questions? No? Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from the table? If not, a motion?
So I move to approve the project on a negative box 3 determination with the condition that the stormwater operation and maintenance plan be maintained.
All right, do we have a second from Bert?
I second it.
Thank you. That's Phil and Bert. All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, Leo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Damon.
Thanks, Chris. Have a good night.
Okay, we
Thanks, you
have
too.
Joseph Swift, notice of intent for 155, 162, 161A, Sharon Webb Lane, reconstruction of house and seawall repair in riverfront and coastal resource areas. This is a continuance till, 4/25.
Joseph Swift, yes. I bumped him because he just came in with revised plans after a weekly requirement. He was before the hearing was open, so, well, no, the hearing has been open, so this will come fresh to you guys at the next meeting. So 4/25, Jim.
All right, do you have a motion for Joseph Swift?
Motion continue to 4/25.
Second?
Okay, thanks, Kevin, second. All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Okay, next we have an extension from Madeline Verona, 90 East Beach Road, SE 801851.
Madeline Verona is applying for an extension, Mr. Chairman, for 90 East Beach Road. This is a trailer lot. File number is SE 801851. Date of the report is April 3rd, 2023. The site visit was also on April 3rd, 2023. The owner has filed a requested 3-year extension to the order of conditions. The site is located on the ocean side of East Beach. In these circumstances, the lot has been given some leniency via a letter we submitted to those East Beach residents, giving them allowance to do work, but we are encouraging people to have a permit by June 1st, or at least submitted for a permit by June 1st. So Mrs. Verona has an active permit. She is okay for the processing or moving of material, and I recommend the Westport Conservation issue a 3-year extension to Madeline Verona, file number SE 801851 for 3 years.
All right, any questions, motion?
So move to issue a 3-year extension.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Jason. All those in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous, Leo.
I would motion yourself, Mr. Chairman, to continue Westport Village Commons to the next meeting, 4/25. And I will inform Mr. Potter that he may have thought we may not have been meeting because of the meeting being on a election.
So we have a septic repair for Westboro Village
Did you need to
Commons,
pass this one?
Pascarillo, 770 Main Road. We're gonna continue that till 4/25. Do we have a motion for that?
Motion to continue.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Phil. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's unanimous, Leo. All right, we have some, bills here. Let's see, WB Mason, $267.42 for miscellaneous office supplies. We have a motion to pay.
Motion to pay.
Second.
Second from Jason. All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, Leo. Next, we have advertising for the hearings. So this is the one for, so is this local, is that the correct amount? Because I don't see it. Or are we
Oh,
gonna-
those are just for.
Oh, that's for the mine now, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
They're
cancel
still
that.
battling them.
All right, so we have a motion for East Bay Media for advertising for $369. Motion to pay?
Motion to pay.
Second.
Second from Phil, all in favor? Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, so. Another one for East Bay Media for $123 for advertising. Is there a motion to pay?
I move we pay.
All right, thank you. Bert and Kevin, all in favor, opposed? All right, that's unanimous, so. Minutes from 3/28.
It's close.
All right, no, can't do that one. Okay, we have minutes from 2/28. Oh, jeez. Me, Jason, Kevin, yeah, okay, we did this one, we can do. Yep, so we can, vote on the minutes for 2/28. Myself, Jason, Kevin, and Burton were at this meeting, so. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Have a second?
Second that.
Second for Bert, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's approved. And we're gonna hold off on the 3/28 minutes till we get people here. All right, Chris, what do you have today?
Just quickly, I mentioned that I got that letter out to the East Beach residents on the ocean side, informing them of some leniency that we approved at that meeting. I've been receiving a lot of phone calls of angry individuals, but that's just the way it goes. So we'll deal with that, get through it, and then hopefully be able to stagger them so we don't be inundated with, you know, how many that may come in at that one particular time, so. Everyone seems to be pretty cooperative, they just thought that when they went through this process with the selectmen, they wouldn't have to do anything anymore. So they don't realize there's actually permits that they are supposed to have under a regulation that has been there for quite some time.
Well, it's
so-
state law too. so.
Yeah, and so, correct. And
And,
then when I explained the fees, they nearly fell over and it's just typical. It's okay, we'll get through it and, at this time, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Okay, did you explain to them also about the getting, the information on the product they're gonna use, so it's of similar type and grade and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, yes, I did, yes,
All
correct.
right, that's important.
Yes, it is.
Okay, anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss? Okay, if no other discussion, a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Jason and Phil, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous, so.